This is your girl, Thalia Sanchez from Bella Vida. I'm a tattoo artist who loves to paint and travel the world, and I love my dog, Canela. Welcome to our podcast, Tattoo Nightmare, episode 16. And for today's episode, we do have a tattoo artist who goes by the name Banks, who will be sharing his worst tattoo nightmare with all of us. So please introduce yourself and welcome, Banks.
Hi, my name is Banks. I come from Stockton. I'm originally from LA.
Woo-hoo, he's coming back, you guys.
Yeah, I'm currently in the progress of moving back to LA. I feel like it's time to come home.
Yeah, welcome home. This is like a little mini introduction for him to come back.
Yes, I'm trying to make it back home. I'm gonna be working at a shop in Downey called Superior Inc.
Superior Inc.
Yes, that's gonna be my home when I'm making back over here. Try to make it big in the industry, you know.
Yes.
Trying to get up there so I could leave like a legacy to my kid.
Oh, you have a daughter?
Yeah, she's 9 years old. I'm actually teaching her how to tattoo at the
Nice.
moment. Yeah.
Nice. You gotta teach them young, baby steps and everything. Like, that's so cool.
Yes, right now she already did two tattoos on fake skin. She got her
wow.
machine for Christmas, the first machine.
For Christmas? Damn. Like, I wish I got a tattoo machine when I was young, too. Times have changed for sure. And, like, I'm actually happy that, that you're doing that for your daughter and, like, leaving her a legacy, someone to look up to and stuff. Yeah. Especially if she likes it and, like, wants to keep going for it. Like, you pretty much open doors for her and stuff.
Yeah, she loves the art. She likes to draw a lot. She does paintings. She learned how to do the hydro.
9 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
She learned how to do hydro painting on the canvases.
Wow. You see all those little lazy kids that are just in the bedroom.
Stuck on the iPad.
Stuck on the iPad kids and stuff. Well, thank you for that introduction, Banks. For today, we do have Freddy Cougar as a cup, and then we got Chucky over here, and we're gonna cheers to start our journey together through our traumas and his nightmares. And you get to choose one of these donuts, except the sprinkly ones, because those are mine. No, just kidding. But you get to choose whichever one you want to eat, how many you want to eat, in between. You know when sometimes you need a Snicker or Twix, you get a donut. So take us to your journey on how you became a tattoo artist and what was one of the first nightmares. It doesn't have to be a big nightmare. They could be tiny nightmares that you went through and the beginning of your journey.
The way I started my journey was when I was younger. Well, when I was 17.
17.
Yes, I got my first tattoo, which was my mom's name. After that, I felt like the tattoo looked a little lonely.
Aww.
So I wanted to add more to it.
It always starts with.
And that's how it starts. I decided to go to a shop and check out for more work, and it was like too expensive. At least for me, it was at the moment because I was 17.
Yeah, 17, you're getting tattooed already. Like. Yeah.
So then I decided that instead of paying for a tattoo, I just bought a machine.
Nice.
And I used myself to practice.
You invested in yourself. You're like, you know what? I could do this.
Yeah.
Damn. So let me see your first tattoo.
The first tattoo is this one right here.
Very nice. Oh, that's really good. Yeah. That's really good for your first tattoo. I've seen some that I'm like, keep practicing. Yeah? But that one actually looks like you've been practicing.
I think I just had it in me. I had been drawing since I was a kid. That was my hobby growing up.
Got it. Yeah. So when you bought your first tattoo machine, was it hard for you to get it?
I mean, I had no type of knowledge for it or nothing. Like back in the day, we didn't have YouTube. So I bought a machine off of Amazon, and whatever made sense to me when it came to the needles, you know.
Like, got it. So you pretty much were self-taught.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, I had nobody to show me.
And do you feel like that was hard?
Yeah, actually it was, because like as you can see my lines, how they look kind of like thick and squiggly.
Yeah, like it's kind of like you were going thick and like it's not even bad at all. I'm telling you, like I've seen some people where it's just so squiggly, but yours is actually pretty solid. Like, but I could tell where, obviously where you were going a little over certain parts, but nothing where it's like horrible. It's not. This does not look like it's your first.
I was showing you how the lines came out like that because I didn't know what I was doing, so I was outlining with a round shader.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Instead of a liner and stuff.
I saw it. I saw it pointing, so I figured it was the needle.
Got it.
For the job.
And you had it, but you know what? When you do those mistakes, it kind of like it hits you more. you know, versus somebody telling you. Because when you experience it, it kind of like stays in your head more for some reason.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a beauty in being self-taught. Is it a struggle? Hell yeah, like, because you have to figure it out on your own.
Yes.
Even if you ask around, like, I'm pretty sure you were like, oh, you can't. They're like, hush, hush, especially back in the day, like, you had to be in a tattoo shop.
Yeah, every time I asked around, they just told me to figure it out.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you know how many tattoo shops you went through?
At least, like, not to exaggerate, at least 10 shops told me to figure it out. Yeah.
No way.
Because I didn't know anybody that worked at the shop.
Got it.
Yeah.
You would just go in. Did you take a portfolio or anything?
Yeah, a couple of times I did.
Yeah?
Yeah, there was a couple shops that wanted me in there.
Oh,
but
yeah?
there was a lot that turned me down.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Like, which ones are the ones that turn you down, and what words did they tell you?
They just said, well, first they asked if I knew anybody at the shop. And when I said no, they just told me that they couldn't do nothing for me. Just figure it out on my own.
Yeah. And you know what? I have met people who, I know it gets a little scary to, you know, do the whole shop to shop and ask around if they are taking apprenticeships, you know, because they don't want to be told no, or no, we're not taking, or no, we don't like your work, whatever, etc. Like, what made you want to be like, no, I'm going to keep pushing, I'm going to keep asking around?
It's just the love for the art.
Got it.
Ever since I was a kid, I love the art. So
yeah.
I figured, you know, if I could put my art on people's skin and people wear it, then, you know, like, that's something that I could be proud of.
True.
Yeah.
Did it hurt anything, like when they would tell you no?
No, it just pushed me harder, you know, like to like keep going.
Yeah, that's amazing to hear, because I do know a few people who, you know, one shop and, you know, they said no to them, they felt embarrassed, or they felt like, oh man, like, I'm never gonna make it and stuff. But hearing you, like, going through those 10 shops, a lot of them were like, no, and you're like, nope, I'm gonna keep going. Is there a specific shop that you ended up at?
Yeah, it was a shop on Whittier Boulevard.
Got it. And there, like, how did you start?
I actually ended up, I used to go buy my supplies there.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I ended up talking to the owner one day. He told me to bring the portfolios, and he liked my work, so he gave me a chance.
Awesome. Yeah. Damn, it's crazy out there, because, you know, especially back in the day, like, it's either they liked you or not. You know, it's either you clicked with them or not, you know. And now it's way different. You know, there's a lot of social media, like a lot of schools for tattooing,
online
seminars, online classes, if you can't make it in the shop. Because before you had to put your hours, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, you had to put in your hours. You had to put in your work.
Yeah. Is there something crazy that you went through in your apprenticeship, or a nightmare that you had to face that you're like, damn, I didn't know I had to do this?
I guess you could say that the hardest part of like my journey was learning how to create texture on pictures, you know what I mean?
Got it.
Like I found it really hard to create like
realism, like
like realism, like let's say for animal portraits or anything like that, creating the fur.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That, you know
fur,
what? Yeah,
feathers.
You're right, because like it's like shading, but from the side, and everybody has different techniques and stuff too. And damn, is there other shops that you went through that you were like, you know what, this isn't for me?
Yeah, there was a couple shops that I went through, and just like the type of reputation they had, you know, like I felt like it wasn't for me, because I didn't want to build a bad reputation for myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true, because the people who you eat with and wake up with, definitely, you know, people talk and they think you're involved in whatever situation.
Think you be doing the same thing.
Yeah, and it's just, you don't want to be messing around with other people's worlds or problems and stuff.
Yes.
Because I have noticed a lot of people at shops in general, they don't know how to, not all of them, but a good handful don't know how to keep their own problems out of the shop.
Yes.
And they always like keep it in or involve everybody, and it just makes a hot mess for everybody and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any nightmares that you went through as you were growing that stick to you?
Not that I could think of.
It was more of like you learning all on your own.
Yeah. It was definitely hard because I had no guidance, you know what I mean?
Got it.
Like when it came to like learning the drop methods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not knowing how to like do it the right way, it could affect your work in many ways.
Got it. How were you starting?
I just, I'm not gonna lie. In the beginning, I was just trying to figure it out. I would only use like 2 or 3 cups.
Okay.
A lot of my shading used to come out pretty dark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you didn't have big skin, right?
No.
It was just on people.
No, I just had my arm.
Oh, your arm. Oh, yeah. You pretty much were tattooing your whole entire self all the time.
Yeah. I was just basically like, I used to try to do the same thing I did with my pencil when I would draw.
Got it.
So, like when I would shade, I would just do the same thing. I press a little bit and go lighter, just to make it look, like if it's fading out.
Yeah. So pretty much when you bring your portfolio, you would bring your arm.
Yeah.
You're like, these are the tattoos I did and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after I started doing this, people started asking me who was doing my arm.
Oh.
And that's why I started tattooing more people, because I told them it was me. So then they started asking me for work.
Were they always shocked when you would be like, yeah, I tattoo myself? Like,
yeah. Even to this point, after so many years of tattooing, everybody still trips out that I did my own arm.
Yeah, because you did. Oh no, I was thinking you did it with your left hand, but no,
I'm right-handed.
Your right hand. I was like stripping out. Damn, that's crazy. Like, because I've only tattooed myself once, and it was intense.
Oh really?
So I could only imagine your whole entire arm.
I felt like being so focused on the tattoo, it would help me forget about the pain.
Got it. I could see that.
Yeah.
I think I was just talking out of my ass because I was nervous, but then after I was like, okay, I need to do this mine, and I just focused on it.
Yeah.
And after I would feel the burn, and I'm like, I take another breathe and do another line and stuff.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it could get hard in certain areas,
Got it. As you were growing and going to different shops, did you ever had to go through a nightmare dealing with an artist?
Dealing with the artist, not with the artist, but with a customer, yeah.
Oh, customer?
Yes.
What was one of the nightmares you had to deal with when you barely were starting that you're like, damn, I didn't know how to deal with this?
I was tattooing some girls' ribs, and everything was fine. As soon as I started tattooing and did like a couple lines, it was like just sweat dripping from everywhere.
From her back?
Yeah, and from everywhere.
That's nasty.
Like armpits and everything.
Her or you?
From her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like to me, that was a nightmare. That was pretty nice.
Yeah. Like you were like, oh, this girl is.
Because I was tattooing her ribs. And,
oh yeah.
And the whole sweat was coming down.
Yeah. So it got hard to tattoo her and stuff, especially because you're on her and you slide and everything. Like I've actually had somebody like that. Like they have nervous sweats and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't that like they were like fainting. It was just that they get just hot in general and stuff because they're nervous, and you're just wiping and wiping and wiping.
And it just keeps coming.
Yeah. You know what? I don't know if you noticed. There's certain people that have different textures and that have really soft skin that you could tell that they're sweaters.
What did he say?
That it gets hard to tattoo that type of skin. Sweaters?
The sweaters?
No, that's why I fixed it. I'm like, wait, that they sweat. But those, like, I think people don't understand, like, or sometimes maybe they do, but not a lot of people understand the little small nightmares we artists deal with, which is small things like that, when we're tattooing. And it's something I know they can't control all the time, but it's something that we have to kind of like work with it, and sometimes it does make the tattoo longer and stuff.
Yes.
What are some things that you're teaching your daughter right now that you wish that they taught you?
The techniques for shading. I feel like shading, it could be really overwhelming, and it's not that easy to get the hang of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to get the smooth shading, so you could get like the nice soft touch in it.
Got it.
Like and then the different shades of gray.
Yeah.
Definitely gotta learn the different shades of gray, which is something that I didn't know, like when I was growing as an artist.
Yeah. How many years do you have again in tattooing? About
like 15, 16 years.
16 years. Damn. Almost what, a decade? A decade? Is a decade?
I think it's a little over a decade, yeah.
Am I saying that right? A decade. And what is a century? Is 20.
Yeah.
Okay. You're almost hitting your century.
Yeah.
Oh my.
It's just like your experience, and stuff. And it's cool hearing your journey of like how you were self-taught. Because a lot of people actually start that way.
Yeah.
They think, oh, we got a great apprenticeship or a great mentor, because not a lot of people get great mentors.
Yeah.
And you were kind of lucky a little bit, as in like, the people who were supplying you, they're like, you know what, let's take you in. But it took you a while to get there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people give up, the first try or the second try. But you were just, you kept getting hit and hit and hit with no's, and you're like, no, I'm gonna keep going.
I just kept I kept going. I never stopped. I would just do it on the side, so I wouldn't lose the touch of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's true, huh?
Yeah. So I used to work construction, and on the weekends I used to tattoo.
Got it.
Yeah. And then finally I became a full-time artist.
Got it. For your apprenticeship, was there any like nightmares that you had to deal with? That you're like, I don't want to do this.
I actually never had an apprenticeship.
No? Oh,
no, when I got hired as an artist.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now I understand. It wasn't like you were like just kind of like, all right, tattoo then.
Yeah, because he saw the pictures and he saw that I already knew how to tattoo, so he just hired me as an artist.
How was your transition like that? Like just becoming a tattoo artist? Did you feel a certain pressure or anything?
It was kind of stressful, like being like when you work a regular 9 to 5, you have a for sure check all the time, you know what I mean?
Oh, true.
And when you become basically your own boss, and it works out different. If you don't got work, then you don't got no money.
It's like a gamble.
Yeah. So then that's what used to kind of stress me out.
Got it. Because sometimes like you be winning, and others it's like, damn, it's low.
Yeah.
And did you have to learn a lot about how to get your people out there and or get people in with you, and like how would you do all of that?
Definitely had to advertise yourself a lot everywhere you go. So what I would do is every time I go to like a supermarket or something, I see somebody with tattoos, I will ask them, where they get the work done. If they want to check out a new artist or something, I will show my page.
Got it. And is that another reason why you just kept getting tattoos as well? Because like you realized it was a great advertisement as well?
Yeah.
That's cool. You
Honestly,
found your own way, like.
Yeah.
Especially because we didn't have social media that much.
No, at the time we didn't have it, so that's why I used to talk to a lot of people at the stores, give them my number. Then when social media came around, then I would just show them my page, show them my work.
Nice.
Yeah, it took a while, but
yeah.
Because when people don't know you, they don't trust you.
Yes.
Especially with something that's gonna be on their body forever. You get me?
Got it.
So it was a little hard, but little by little, the clientele grew.
Yeah, you gain their trust and everything, and that's cool because like I'm so intrigued because like you pretty much had no apprenticeship and you were just thrown as a tattoo artist. So it's like, how do I do this? What's this? And you're learning as you're a tattoo artist and stuff. And that's the cool part about everybody's journey. Like some people are thrown in it, some people are guided, and some people like are supported and others aren't, So you were just kind of like winging everything.
Yeah.
But look at you now, like, and now you're teaching your daughter,
Yeah.
That's crazy. And not only that, like your mistakes, you're gonna be able to like help her and guide her more faster for her growth.
Yes.
So she doesn't have to like go through too many things.
A century is 100 years.
A century?
Oh shit.
Wait. What is 20?
It's called a decennial.
Oh Lord Jesus, I was never gonna say it. I was never gonna be able to say that, Vicenio.
I was like, wait.
I know. I was like, I think a century is not 20, but I'm like, I'll just say it. They're like, Jesus Christ. But have you ever had to deal with any artists, like as you were jumping from different shops and stuff, that you were like, yeah, I can't work with people like you?
Yeah. Sometimes there's some artists that I feel like they start getting a little bit of fame and it gets to the head,
Got it.
So when they get all big headed, like those are the type of people I don't like to deal with. Because me personally, I like to stay humble.
Yeah.
So I feel like being humble, it goes a long way.
Got it. And what was one of the reactions that you realized, you know what, this guy is getting a little too big headed, like I need to either, did you give yourself space from them, or do you just, distance, or?
It's just, like how they think that they're better than everyone else.
Got it.
And they think that they're like,
Like a rock star.
yeah.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what kind of like draws the line for me. I don't like to affiliate with people that way.
Gotcha. Is there any other, you know how you've been to shops and stuff? Have you ever met an owner that you're like, why are you running it?
I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I ran into a shop that the owner was like that, and
what was your experience?
I mean, he didn't keep up with the shop, and you can have a tattoo shop that is not like well kept. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because tattoos, what we do, you have to be really clean, sanitary.
Yeah.
So.
And it's cool because like you're self-taught, you know this.
Yes.
and you're like, what's going on here? Like you're owning a shop. And
Well, I mean, we're dealing with blood. You know what I mean? We're dealing with
yeah,
needles. It's easy to give somebody an infection. So
yeah.
that's the reason why I see it as in like a tattoo shop has to be really clean.
Yeah. What was this owner a tattoo artist or was he just an owner?
No, he was a tattoo artist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a tattoo artist himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
He got comfortable.
A little too comfortable, yeah.
Got it. And what made you be like, I'm out of here?
It's just that I noticed the pattern and how like it just kept like the shop wouldn't change.
Got it. You had to keep up. You had to kind of like keep cleaning and.
I mean, I kept my station clean all the time, but like when the customers come in, they don't see just my station; they see the whole shop. You know?
Oh my God, you're right. So it falls back to what we were saying, like when you hang out around with certain people and they don't keep up to par or they're dealing with stuff like they think the whole crowd is like the same thing, and that's so true. A lot of people think like, oh, they must be all the same.
Because first impression is it's big. You know what I mean?
Was it mostly like having bottles and like drinks and cups and
nah,
stuff?
it was mostly like not keeping the floor clean, or let's say somebody threw a piece of trash on the floor, then that piece of trash will be there for like a whole month.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's good that you talk about cleanliness, because not a lot of people talk about that. A lot of people mostly say like, oh, the vibe or anything, or like the other artist or the shop wasn't like, the owner wasn't like there to help out the other artists. But cleanliness is a big one. Like I definitely would say like a lot of people, that's the first thing they see is like they're gonna obviously judge your place. Do they like the vibe? Is it clean? They'll start looking at things, the floor, as they're walking to your station. And it is annoying, hearing people's stories where people have cigarettes, bottles everywhere, the trash overflowing and it's on the floor. They even see some of the needles on the floor overflowing on what is it called? The red
the sharps container?
The sharps container and stuff. So I would have walked out there as well. I'd be like, you know what? I can't deal with this. Especially the restroom. Yeah. If the restroom is dirty, you're like, Jesus Christ. Who cleans here?
The restroom at the shop was bad. Like, it always smelled bad. I didn't even want to go in there.
Yeah. So you're like, why? You know what? I had an artist that told me one time, and he told me the same thing. He's like, he was checking everything, and everything was okay. And then he went to the restroom, and he's like, nah, I can't let my people be here. And he said it smelled like piss. There was bottles everywhere. There was like things hanging with clothes. And you're like, what? Like, what? Why is this here? And like, it was just disgusting. He said I couldn't explain it anymore. Like, it was just dirty. You could tell that restroom was not being up to par, or nobody was cleaning it. Yeah. They would just probably change the fucking the trash bags. And then after everything was gone. But other than that, like as you started growing, and what boundaries did you realize that you had to set with not just artists but people in general for you to, keep going in tattooing? Because I know that's something a lot of tattoo artists have a struggle in doing, and everybody has different boundaries that they have.
One thing I learned that I had to start doing, because at first I didn't like taking deposits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask anybody for deposits, and that was one thing I decided to change, because a lot of people used to leave me hanging. I would write them down on the schedule, and then they wouldn't show up, or call me like 10 minutes late before the appointment. Oh, I'm not gonna show up. Damn. Yeah, so that was one thing that I had to change, and now it's like with no deposit, you don't get an appointment.
Yeah, that's so true in what you say, because like I'm pretty sure in the beginning you build this bond and trust, and then you get it. Things happen, emergencies happen. You're like, cool, but then you're like with a short stick in the end, because you're like, damn, like now, I can't pay my bills, or I had everything scheduled, and sometimes they want you to schedule them in ASAP after, and you're like, fuck, I'm already booked. Like, how can I book you in as quickly as possible? Like, it's hard, So sometimes people don't realize like why we have deposits and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's important for people to realize like you're pretty much bread for your family and stuff. Like you have kids to feed, bills to pay as well, and sometimes it's inconsiderate when people do that.
Yeah, because I do this because I love the art.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like a career,
Yeah, and it's something that you're taking seriously. So when people do that, like they pretty much don't take you seriously. And we understand things happen, but sometimes it's just like, dude, like if you're constantly doing it as well, especially when it's like last minute, you know, like, and that's when we artists, you know, learn through those mistakes, because as much as we want to say our clients are our friends, like we have to have that boundary of like, yes, I like your energy, yes, I consider you a pal or somebody I like to hang out with, but these are my what's it called, boundaries or rules and stuff, in order for me policies. Policies, there you go, to separate that with friends. And I'm pretty sure you know, when you started, you know, learning how to tattoo and stuff, like nobody taught you this.
Nah, nobody showed me anything.
You're like, yeah, come in, you know.
Yeah.
Versus like, give me a deposit of 100 or 50 or whatever, you know. Have you been to any tattoo conventions?
Yes, actually, I hit at least like about 6 to 7 conventions every year.
6 every year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm trying to make it a goal every year, but so far I've been doing the most that I can. You know what I mean?
Got it. And when did you start going to tattoo conventions? Because I know you started young as a tattoo artist. And when was it when you started to?
I didn't get into conventions until like, I would say like probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
And then I went to my first one in Pomona by Body Art.
Yes.
That was my first one, and after that, I fell in love with them. Like networking, you get to meet other people, other artists. You know what I mean?
Was it scary, your first one?
Yes,
Were you a little nervous?
Really
walk me through that little nightmare.
I was really nervous. Like I didn't know what I was walking into. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was gonna be like. I didn't know how hard it was gonna be, how hard or easy it was gonna be to get a client there.
Oh, got it. Oh, wow. Okay. So you went in there to get clients, because I know there's some artists who have like book dates and then book dates to just do walk-ins.
Well, not to get clients, but like, I mean, it was my first one, so I didn't know
what to expect.
And then I was surrounded by a lot of good artists, so in my head I was like, nobody's gonna want to get tattooed by me. You know?
Yeah. That's so true, and how you think. A lot of artists think the same way.
Yeah.
Like it's always that hesitation of like, oh, we're not good enough. You know, like, do our portfolios look good? Like, does my setup look presentable? Like, tell me how all those thoughts were running in your head.
I think as artists, we're always doubting ourselves, and we don't give ourselves like enough credit. You get me?
Yeah.
Because I do it a lot. Like a lot of people tell me like, oh, your art is crazy. Like you have really good art, but I don't see it.
Aww.
Like I guess you could say because I learned to work the way my dad showed me. My dad he's like a perfectionist.
Got it.
So if I see one little thing that I don't like, then I don't like the tattoo.
Got it. You're like, damn, I could have fixed that little area, cleaned that little edge a little bit more, like sharpen it. Damn. So when you went to your first tattoo convention, like, were you prepared, or were you?
Not really.
Tell me all that. Tell me all the small little details.
Like I said, I didn't know what I was walking into, so I didn't even take a portfolio, nothing. Like the guy that I went with, he didn't give me too much info. He said, take like about 8-9 pictures, and I believed him, and that's what I took.
Gotcha.
But luckily, I didn't just take pictures to put on my table. I ended up buying a frame, and I put all the pictures in there.
Nice.
And thankfully, those pictures actually got me some people. I got busy the whole weekend.
Sorry, I'm messy.
Bless you.
Do la rosa, la Guadalupe.
La rosa de Guadalupe.
Blow me some air.
I tried to get some of my best pictures I had, and actually got me busy for the whole weekend.
Damn, that's cool. That's cool. Did you have like a back banner and stuff?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
No, I just.
And you know what? That's how you start, and that's how you learn. And I think that's the cool thing when you keep going to tattoo conventions, like how everything is growing and evolving. Because like now people have like not only backdrops but side poles. You know, like
the banners.
Yeah, like outside now too, like on this pole thing, where it's like, oh, cool, that's different, you know, and like how everybody has a different setup and stuff.
Yeah, literally all I had was those pictures and some business cards, and that was it.
Wow, you're like, I'm gonna keep it simple and classy.
And then from there I walked around and I saw everybody set up, and that's when I was like, oh, now I know what I gotta do.
You're like, stickers, prints.
Yeah, prints, stickers, pictures,
background.
Yeah.
That's cool though, because honestly that's how a lot of people learn. Like that's what tattoo conventions are supposed to do, is share each other's like worlds, and you get to see like, oh, I like a little bit of that. Oh, let me try that if I like it. Like, oh, I like the color scheme on this, you know. And
Yes.
it's the cool thing because now I see videos.
Mm-hmm.
People have a lot of videos on their as their portfolios.
I actually have now I have a digital frame.
Oh, damn!
Yeah.
You came from a old school frame to a digital
I
frame.
went from a picture frame to a
A
digital.
picture frame. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like like the evolution, you know, like
Yes.
especially because you pretty much started when none of the technology was pretty there. It was really like basic. To now, Procreate. You have different printers for stenciling. Machines
The
are
stencil
wireless.
creams, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was it a struggle for you to do that transition in the beginning?
Yes. I was used to the old school way. Like when I first started, instead of using stencil cream, I used to use a deodorant.
Oh yes, I
The
done it.
HP
I
stick.
done it once or twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
then
time out.
it started evolving, you know, and then it started getting better. But it was really hard for me to, like, I think the hardest part was transitioning from drawing on paper to the iPad.
Oh,
That was
yes.
the hardest part for me because even to this point, I still have a hard time drawing on the iPad. I
Got
find it easier drawing like on paper, and I take a picture and edit it on the iPad.
Got it. That it's so true. It's so true. When I got the iPad too, like I was having fun with it, but it was so hard to keep your hand steady
Mm-hmm.
because it was like a little like it was more of a glide, you know, and you had to learn how to put the pressure and
Yes.
play around with it. That's the only way, to be honest, like that every artist was trying. And I understand how it could frustrate a couple of artists because like I have to learn a whole new thing. I could easily just trace it and stuff, but this definitely like that change helped me a lot because it just made me focus more on the art
Yes.
versus like the what's it called the stencil and making it nice and crisp. Like I knew it was gonna come out nice. Like
Yeah.
it was more of like, all right, cool, these are my guidelines, and for me to like go straight more to the tattoo and put my energy more on that.
Plus, it saves you a lot of time because you're not sitting there tracing the whole picture, you know?
Your arm is like hurting after when you have to stencil because you have to put a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Or else if you don't put enough pressure, your stencil's not gonna transfer it.
It doesn't stick right, yeah.
And then oh man, I think this is one of my nightmares where, you know, if you don't do it at clipboard or you don't like put them together,
And then
good,
it moves and you lose
and
it.
it moves and you're like, no.
You
like,
start all over.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple times, and I learned a couple tricks until the iPad came and I'm like, fuck this. But I always say it's good to learn both ways because what if one day the iPad's not working? What are you gonna do? You know? So I always say like learn all ways, all the different ways.
Well, I still do like different ways besides the iPad.
Yeah.
Like sometimes certain things I just freehand it on the customer with a marker.
Yeah.
Yeah, or-
I love freehanding too.
Yeah.
Was that hard for you to learn?
Not really because
You'd always be
well, like I
drawing.
said, I've been drawing since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So like I could draw anything I see.
That's so cool. Yeah, in high school too, in middle school, I would be drawing on people. I had so many markers, so many pens. They'd be like, write a name and write my mom's name, and I would just be drawing them. So that became so like second nature. I know there's some people who that's their nightmare. They're
Yeah.
like, oh, I had to like freehand or my stencil left, so I had to redraw it or re-stenciling it. And I understand it could be a little scary, especially if you've never done any like freehand on anybody or drawn on anybody,
Yeah.
because the body is different when it's not the body. The stencil is different when it's straight
Then when you
versus
draw
when
it.
you wrap it on a person and stuff. It's just different because when you
Yes.
draw it on the body and you actually put it on a paper, it's not gonna be straight. You know,
Yeah.
it's just a trip. You know, so you
It's
just
a
have
lot
to
different.
know the composition of everybody is different too. But I personally love freehanding as well. Like it was not something I had to, face as a nightmare and stuff.
Yes.
When you did do tattoo conventions, is there any nightmares that you've seen? Sometimes you don't even have to be involved, but like you physically seen that you're like, oh shit, like. it
Oh,
could
you
get
know
a
what?
little
Yeah,
heated.
when I went to San Diego, it was like one of the last days. It was on Sunday, and we were packing up, and then we see these two guys, an artist and his client. They come and they start arguing in front of our booth. I guess the client had gotten tatted for all 3 days straight, And at the end, he said that supposedly he didn't like the design that he got, so he didn't want to pay the artist. Yeah, and then it was like a big old commotion right there in front of our booth, and like because I mean I'm pretty sure it was thousands of $1,000 of work, you know, because he got a big piece. He got tied up for 3 days straight. Yeah, he just wanted to walk out. So then the artist was literally like chasing him on the way out, like, "Hey, bro, you can't just leave. Like, you gotta pay me."
Holy shit! Like,
yeah.
oh my god! Like, I'm like, what would I do? You know, like,
Yeah.
that's intense. Like, when they don't want to. Have you ever had to deal with that?
Yeah, I had a guy that left and didn't pay for his tattoo. He was mad at the fact that because I have a policy where if they tap out, they gotta pay the full price, and they gotta give me another deposit for the next appointment because I gotta do a whole new setup.
Yes.
And he was mad about that, so he ended up leaving without paying.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You know what? One time I did have somebody. Now that I think about it, because I'm like, I don't think I ever had to deal with that, thankfully. But I did have somebody where, I believe we booked for like a 6 to 8 hour, and like I told her, oh, we're passing the 6 hour, you know, and she's like, okay, so we did 8 hours. But she, at the end, she only was like, oh, I only brought enough for the 6 hours, you know? And I'm like, oh, I did 8 hours, you know? Like, it's actually this much, but I already sent her the info. But sometimes they stay quiet because they don't want to tell you, you know? They're like, just finish as much as possible. So she only paid me for the 6 hours, and she never gave me the rest for the 2 hours. But she, in her words, she was like, oh, I'm going to come back and finish it up and do another session. I'm like, okay. But she never gave me the other for the other 2 hours, but I just like blocked them at that time, where it's like, you know what, it was not money lost, and if anything, that was an investment where I saw the way you are, then I'm like, I'm not gonna tattoo you ever again.
Yeah,
but it's a lesson learned, you know, for everybody.
Something similar like that happened to me. There was some lady, she booked she had something a tattoo that she had already done for somebody else, and she wanted me to fix it for her. So
okay.
I gave her a price, and she said if there's any way that I could do it in 2 sessions, and I told her yeah. So she came for the first session. After on the first session, I did all the shading. The second session was gonna be for the color.
Yeah.
But I guess after the first session, since it already looked better with the shading, then she never came back.
Yeah.
So basically, I did a big tattoo for like a cheap price because I only got half of the money, you know.
Yeah. Because you're trying to work with them, help them out, and then you get shot in the foot, and you're like,
they take advantage.
Yeah. And that's why we have certain boundaries or certain rules and stuff, and that's why I have this file where it says the way I work on everything, because before we even say yes to anything, like, I've learned to just give them all the information and be super specific, because then some people try to say, oh, you never said this though, you never said no.
Try to find little loops.
Yeah. And it's just like, come on, it's common sense, common courtesy, and I realize not everybody has that, so I had to be very, very specific on things, where it's like where your deposit goes, why it forfeits, times and dates I work, you know, stuff like that, where it's like your deposit is a confirmation that you're booked, because I realized like some people, even with the deposit, they want to be triple reassured, am I booked, and sometimes we get a lot of messages that we don't see them, and then they get like mad. And I've had that before, where it's like your deposit is pretty much your book, you don't have to worry, you know, like, and it sucks because I wish I never had these extra rules, you know, but we do to save us not only stress, but also like when people don't respect the way we work and stuff, then why continue? Yeah,
definitely.
It's like I'd rather like not be stressed out over somebody than be there and stressed out and not even enjoying tattooing the person. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But anyways, back to the tattoo conventions. Is there anything else that you saw when you know, like when you first were beginning, we were doing the tattoo conventions, that you were like, oh wow, like I didn't know this was gonna be harder than what I thought?
I guess you could say one of the things I found, well, I had to get used to, was tattooing with a bunch of people watching.
That is the good one.
When I first started doing that, it was kind of like overwhelming. I used to get nervous, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing a big piece, and you get a circle of people around you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're like,
And then you don't know if you look at the tattoo or you look at them.
Yeah, or you know how have you ever had people like wanting to talk to you but you can't because you have to stay focused, but they think you're coming off rude or anything?
Yeah, or they think that like you just that you're being rude, that you don't want to talk to them, or you don't want to answer the questions.
Yeah, those are some struggles a lot of artists have in tattoo conventions, you know, and I get it, and that's why I kind of felt more like, you know what, instead of being part of the tattoo conventions, I'd rather just be the one on the sideline just watching everything, because for me at least, it's amazing and you have fun, but it is a mental like, oh, I have to stop. Someone's asking me a question, I'm trying to answer. Yes. Especially when you get a crowd and they're watching you and stuff. There's some artists that want to connect with you and stuff, and it's hard. It's hard to double. What is it called? Multitask. Yeah.
I suck at that.
It's hard because like when you're super hyper focused and then you get interrupted, you have to go back and figure out where your flow was,
Yes.
And that is nerve-wracking, like having everybody watching you and like seeing what you're doing, because now you have to be extra like relaxed and stuff. So that's something not a lot of people talk about. It's like tattooing in a big crowd.
Or sometimes when you're like you're in your zone, like like you're into the tattoo, and then they start talking to you, and then it kind of like throws you off.
Yes.
Then you kind of like struggle a little bit to get back into it,
Yeah, in your groove and stuff, because you have to kind of really think of what they asked. Mm-hmm. So you could be like, oh, I bought this and this, or this is my setup, So, and it's hard. I'm pretty sure now you're way better at it.
Oh yeah, now it doesn't faze me at all.
Yeah. You know what? It's kind of like, how you're going live and stuff. In the beginning, it's nerve-wracking. You're like, what do I do? How do I?
That's why I'm hiding like in the corner.
I noticed. You're like,
it's just slowly going.
In the beginning, I was like that when I would go live. Mm-hmm. One of my nightmares was like, fuck, like how do I balance this? Because like the people wanted me to conversate with them on the iPad. I mean, on the live. But I also had to talk to my client, So I was like juggling and stuff. In the beginning, it was hard. Mm-hmm. I would have to tell people like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you. Like I'm gotta concentrate and stuff, because I only had one phone, and the only way for me to see the comments was depending on the angle.
Okay.
So I realized I needed two phones. And that's what I tell people. One is to get the good angle, and the other one is when you have your iPad. When you see the iPad with the design. Mm-hmm. So I have it right next to each other. So whenever I see my reference, I see the live, and if I could see a comment, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is what I'm using, or this needle I'm using and stuff. But it took me a while, to kind of see that balance and stuff and face my nightmare there. And I was like, all right.
It's crazy that you say that, because I barely started doing the lives, and that's what I'm struggling with. Like, it's hard for me to keep up with the comments when I'm trying to focus on the piece.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the comments, I don't catch them.
Yeah. And then they think you're being rude, or, oh, I don't want to talk, or whatever.
They don't want to talk to me.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's not. It's just we're so concentrated. Or sometimes the conversation with your client is so good that you get lost, and you're like, oh shit, I gotta entertain all these people and stuff. So in the beginning, it was a little tough, but now, like, I'm a fucking pro at it. People are like, how are you doing this? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I'm enjoying it. That's what I tell them. Yeah. Like, if not, I do tell the people on the live, like, hey, I'm gonna be quiet a little bit because I really want to concentrate on these lines that I really, really have to, take my time in.
Yeah.
So it's like just communicating with them, and at the end, you just gotta let people think whatever they want. Yeah. That's what I've learned.
You can't please everyone.
Exactly, and that's a biggest lesson that I fucking learned. At least as I was a people pleaser I used to be. Now I'm like asking myself if I'm happy.
And like, you gotta please yourself before you please anybody else.
Yeah, so true. I'm gonna give you some little snapping fingers there. To end this nightmare on a good note, I do have a question for you, Banks.
Yes.
Do you have any tattoos you regret getting? And if so, what tattoo is it? And what advice would you give to the people to avoid the same experience?
I do have a tattoo I regret. I have one on my chest. It's pretty big, actually. It was supposed to be a gas mask. Well, a guy with a gas mask with the hose going towards the shoulder and a hoodie on. And it just ended up looking like a ram.
You're like, go Rams.
Yes. Well, I don't even like the Rams.
That's. You're like, this is why I don't like it.
Yeah. And then I wanted to fix it, but it's like super dark, you know.
Oh, damn. Got it. Maybe a few lasers and then do something over
I have to do a chest blackout now.
What advice would you give to people to avoid that same experience that you went through?
Don't let your friends practice on you.
That's a good one. That's a good one because what did you say, Leslie? That they don't have. Oh yeah, there's fake skin for that now. So you have no excuses, you guys. Like now you can practice on fake skin because back in the day, you got any body. You know, you're like, you want a tattoo? Come over, I got you. You know, I'm pretty sure that's how it happened. Or you get a little drunk and now you're like, oh yeah, I could practice. I could do this. You know.
You know what? I actually did a tattoo on somebody when I was drunk.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I told him that, like, I don't want to do it, but he kept telling me, do it.
The pressure, huh?
Yeah. And the next day when we woke up, it was like none of the lines were straight.
No way. That's were you like, yes, I'm fucking doing this. Like,
No,
it's so
I
good.
told him that it wasn't going to look nice. And the next day, I couldn't stop laughing.
You see what you made me do?
I told him, I was like, I told you.
And what he said, yeah, you're right.
Nah, he was like, now you got to fix it. I was like, I can't fix it.
Joke's on you. I get it.
Right?
That's funny. That's hilarious.
Should have never let me.
What's another advice you would give them besides like not letting your homie?
Always make sure that like your artists meet like your expectations. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Don't
Look at their
just
portfolio.
yeah, look at their portfolio. Don't just go with anybody because somebody recommended you.
That's
And
a big one, yeah.
yes, and another thing, don't go for cheap work just because the price is low.
Nice. That one. I've done so many cover-ups, you guys, and a lot of them were like, oh, my homie can do it cheaper.
Oh yeah.
Or, oh, I found this other artist who would hook me up. And I'm like, okay. And then they come back and they're like,
Can you fix it?
can you fix it? Can you cover it up? And then not only that, a cover-up is way more because it's more time depending on what you want, what we can even cover it up with.
Mm-hmm.
And if they choose the laser work, not only does it hurt more, but it costs way more than the actual cover up. So it's so hard out there, you guys. Really take your time and get to know your artists, get to know what you like, what you really want, you know, and what you said, you know, tattoos ain't cheap, so try to avoid them. I'm not saying all of them, but a good tattoo artist, a good work,
It's not gonna be cheap.
takes money and time, you guys.
You gotta look at it as it's an investment to yourself. You know?
Yes.
And it's
an investment.
It's a one-time payment that you're doing for the rest of your life.
True.
Because it's gonna be on you forever.
This is gonna be forever. And one-time investment, one-time. Unless you know you go for the cheap way, you're gonna have
Keep
to
going back.
yeah. And I've done cover-ups of a cover-up of a cover-up, and it's crazy. And especially when an artist doesn't know what they're doing, they scar them really, really horrible. Where that's even harder to actually tattoo.
Yeah, I've done some of those, and it's hard.
Yeah, because you always, depending on how thick it is, you'll always see the scarring in a weird way. But you have to just play with it and stuff and do the best you can. But thank you so much, Banks, for not only sharing your nightmare with all of us and stuff, and just for coming out here all the way from Stockton too, because that's a drive.
Yeah, 5-hour drive.
Yeah, 5-hour drive, you guys, you know. So thank you guys also for listening to our Cheeseman, our trauma, his journey on becoming a tattoo artist. And, you know, let's cheers for you for pretty much surviving, you know, because it's a lot.
Yes.
We don't really celebrate the things we've gone through. We always celebrate the achievements. But I feel like these stepping stones is what really makes us.
Yes.
And just hearing your story is just like, damn, very admiring.
Yeah, the stuff we go through is what makes us.
Yes, 100%. But thank you so much. And see you guys next time in our next episode, Tattoo Nightmare 17. Bye, guys.